Ohio gozaimasu. Actually, whispering it does trigger certain things in the brain and body. So that's why you really need to do the oh. Somehow it feels loud today, though. Oh. Connecting the vagus nerve, or igniting the vagus nerve, the head and the heart, where the head and it gets the body and organs and all that good stuff functioning. Breathing because it's the instant way to feel better, and crushing and sniffing. And I have a little special thing today. Look at that. Flowering rosemary. And I remember saying to Sumie when we were first putting together the book, Botanical Shakespeare, Sumie Hasegawa is the illustrator and basically conceived of the project initially 20-some years ago, more than 20 years ago. And I remember looking at her garlic image, which is so beautiful. I said, I didn't know garlic had flowers. And she said, everything flowers, because of course it does. And there is rosemary, and that flowers. And I realized we're having a very Ophelia day today, because rosemary, that's for remembrance. And I try to get you to crush and sniff an herb first thing in the morning, because like to me, I didn't have coffee this morning and I need a little oomph. Had a very hard day yesterday. My kitty is sick, 10 hours at the vet. I'm sure it affected him far more than it affected me, but it was exhausting. And this morning I just was feeling so sluggish, and I thought, I know what to do. So we teach what we need to learn. I mean, even I have trouble remembering. But there is flowering rosemary outside. As you can see, I'm back in Washington, D.C. today because I wanted to see the cherry blossoms. And things kept delaying me in New York. And basically, I missed them. I missed the full glory of them. But, of course, there's some late bloomers. So I posted that last night. My little drive around the tidal basin and towards the Capitol trying to find some cherry blossoms. And I wanted to do this whole post about Helena and Hermia because Shakespeare talks about their friendship. But I also was thinking about, we also didn't post on Friday. I was going to launch the Tree Hugger campaign to get you to send us your pictures of you hugging a tree. And also, if you want to up-level that, a little video in front of a Shakespeare tree saying the line of the Shakespeare tree. Okay? So that's what we're going for. We're going to create a mosaic and this symbiosis between humans and trees and rebreathers, nature's healthcare workers, and really the only reason that we're here on this planet able to breathe is because of them. So back to rosemary, and that's for remembrance. We didn't post because of Prince Philip, and back to the cherry thing. Yes, I'm going to connect all these dots. He really exemplified the wind beneath her wings, Queen Elizabeth's wings, being the steadfast one, holding her up, being there for her, being the stay, being the anchor. I mean, everybody needs that, and it's usually the woman. So it's an exemplar on so many levels. But anyway, when Ophelia's father dies, she gives all these plants. It's called the Garland Speech to Gertrude, Claudius, different people in the court. And she says, rosemary, that's for remembrance. And it's often used in funerals, but it's also because it does something with the synapses in the brain. They've done scientific studies on this. We are going to post that. It does help the memory. It's not just an old wives' tale or an old Shakespeare's tale. It does help the memory. And so if you get memory or focus herbs or they sell all these pills now that you can help your memory, rosemary is in it. So you can use the fresh rosemary. You can use the real rosemary, and it's really not hard to grow. It's a great thing over winter. My little potted plant, because I was gone a month, is not doing well. But I had the fresh with the little purple blooms. And the other thing we're doing today is, so the cherry blossoms is a connectedness, certainly a profusion of beauty, but the cherry itself, the double cherry, is like twins, is like siblings. It was National Siblings Day yesterday, and in a way, that sort of twinned soul, twinned flame situation. And then also violet. I thought the violet was a beautiful line for Prince Philip. Ophelia says, "I would give you some violets, but they withered all when my father died. They say he made a good end." And I think rosemary and violets would be a beautiful thing to put for Prince Philip. Maybe we'll put that up for on his funeral day. Then also, right before that, Ophelia utters what I think is a funny quote, but honestly, people love it. "There's a daisy." That's all she says. "There's a daisy." And I joke that I say, well, even Shakespeare had an off day. But it's Day's eyes. That's where it comes from. The seeing, and I think of it as seeing clearly. But here's the other thing. It's April's flower. And Hannah suggested doing a daisy months ago, it seems like, and we kept kind of putting it off, and it landed exactly where it needed to be, in the middle of Ophelia's speech with the rosemary, and the violets for Prince Philip, and also because it is the flower of April. Now, I don't have any real daisies, but I have my daisy shirt and my daisy necklace, which I did wear a couple weeks ago, and also I have this crochet daisy necklace scarf thing that's just beautiful. Can't find it in the travels. But anyway, there's 6 quotes that Shakespeare uses for daisy. Now, for the line of the week, you could use the violet one. It is pretty, but it's sad. And daisies and violets are together in Love's Labour's Lost's song. Love's Labour's Lost. Say that 3 times fast. "When daisies pied and violets blew, and Lady Smocks all silver white." It goes on like that. But the one I was thinking of, there's even one that says April daisy from Lucrece. Some people call it the Rape of Lucrece. It was printed in 1594 as just Lucrece, so that's what we used. "Her other fair hand was on the green coverlet, whose perfect white showed like an April daisy on the grass." Isn't that perfect? But I thought, "There's a daisy" is easy to remember, so you could go, "There's a daisy." That's Ophelia from Hamlet. And it's in Gertrude's long, sad speech when she talks about Ophelia being pulled down by the water, daisies and long purples and all of that kind of stuff. But the one I liked is one we posted a week or two ago. "Find out the prettiest daisied plot you can." And that's where Shakespeare does some of his sort of linguistic magic and uses it as a verb, uses daisy as a verb. Find out the prettiest daisied plot you can. And there's a little pun in there because you could think of the daisied plot as a plot of a story. But there's Sumier's beautiful daisy. There's the 6 quotes. And we will bring Hannah on, who just had a birthday, actually. Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for my birthday card. That was lovely. And the medlar.
Oh, there it is. That's from Eastgate Larder, which Jane Stewart has the only medlar orchard, heritage medlar orchard, because there just isn't any. So you and I, when I can get back to England, we are going to the medlar orchard. Okay. So why did you want to do daisy? What are the healing properties of daisies?
Well, I think they're the plant that I think most people have spent some time with in their lives. So, even if you're not interested in plants or flowers, at some point you'll have probably picked a daisy or two and made a daisy chain. And that was certainly sort of probably my first experience of plants. And I think it sort of rings true for a lot of people. So it's going back to that, it's kind of going back to our roots in a way and finding out sort of where we first started connecting with nature, I think. But also because it is so common, it tends to get overlooked. and seen of as something not very important. And, you see all of these sort of commercial weed killer commercials, saying, oh, you can get rid of your daisies and your dandelions. But no, let's keep them because they're really, really pretty and they're really good for our wildlife. And I did not know that daisy was the flower of April. So that is perfect.
I know. And sometimes things just work out. So do they have any healing properties? They don't have a scent, really.
Yeah.
So
they're a bit of they're something that's been forgotten medicinally, so it's another thing that isn't really used very much now. But most of the benefits from daisy come from its topical action, from its action on the skin.
really?
So a little bit like calendula and a little bit like arnica. That's kind of where it comes into play. But daisy has a couple of sort of common folk names, one of which is woundwort, which basically means wound healing, and there are loads of different woundworts. But it also has a folk name of bruisewort. So bruise healing. And that really is where it comes into play, because we've talked about making infused oils before, so a heated infused oil, so a plant that's put in oil and then heated very gently. So an infused oil of daisy can make a really nice bruise remedy, just as good as arnica.
Yeah, because arnica is, I have it right here, arnica in little tablets. That's always the one that's prescribed for bruises. But wouldn't it be lovely to use daisy? So if you were doing an infused oil, would you just boil the daisies, or how does that work exactly?
So put the daisy, so freshly picked daisy heads in whatever oil you're going to use, so whether it be olive oil or sunflower oil or whatever, and then very, very gently heat them. Don't boil it, because if you boil an oil, then it will turn a bit yucky. Yeah. So very lightly. Yeah. So very, very lightly heat it for probably about an hour, and then you can strain it off and then bottle it.
I love the idea that daisies heal bruises, and it makes me understand again Ophelia's speech, the Garland speech. All of the things that she mentions have healing properties. Rosemary, as I said, and violet. And now daisy. I did not know that daisy healed or helped bruises, so I find that beautiful. There's another great line that most Shakespeare plant collections don't have. It's from Henry IV. I think it's Henry IV, Part 1. Parmacetti for an inward bruise. And it's basically, the idea of the plant healing an inside hurt. Parmacetti is often mistaken for a version of ambergris, something to do with the whale, which it's not. It's a word for shepherd's purse. And so anyway, we'll talk about shepherd's purse another time, but I just thought daisy for an inward bruise as well. Inward and outward bruises. Certainly that's what Ophelia's talking about. So celebrate your April daisy. Find out the prettiest daisy plot you can, and then make an oil out of it and heal your bruises. Thank you, everybody. And we will be talking herbs and Shakespeare next week.